Elizabeth stood in the dimly lit living room of her and Andrei's Moldovan home, the early evening shadows cradling her in wavering light. A hum of distant traffic seeped through the tall windows, carrying the scent of rain-washed cobblestones and memories too heavy to ignore. The old suitcase lay open at her feet, as if inviting her to make her decision for her. Clothes were already inside, soft knit sweaters from home, pairs of socks of familiar colors, and her favorite scarf that still smelled faintly of sandalwood and childhood. But alongside these tangible comforts lay intangible ones, dreams she couldn't unfold, a sense of belonging she couldn't materialize here, and a future that felt unbearably uncertain. She pulled out a simple white blouse, one she always wore when she needed to feel grounded and brave. Folding it gently, she placed it aside. This wasn't just one more move. It felt like one of her last choices for what together truly meant. 3 days earlier, she and Andrei had argued in the small kitchen, the one space they shared where both hope and tension simmered. She waved a hand toward the unopened mail, Andrei's visa paperwork, her parents' letters, the silent weight of phone calls unanswered. The words came out too sharp. I feel like I've lost more than we've ever built. If you want me here, you have to show me that this can work. He'd slammed a hand down on the counter, the porcelain of their favorite mug rattling in its saucer. That night, words had tumbled out, heated and frayed. Andrei insisted things would settle, that soon enough she'd feel at home. But Elizabeth's eyes brimmed with tears as she reminded him she had already waited for 6 months. She had already softened expectations because she loved him. The decision didn't come from a place of anger, but from a quiet, aching realization. Now, Elizabeth zipped the suitcase closed. The click sounded in the hush of the evening, a punctuation mark on an unvoiced sentence. Her phone buzzed. A text from Loren, the one person she trusted beyond immediate family, read, "Need anything? You know we've got your back, always." She swallowed, the words helping to steady her breath. America wasn't just a place, it was home. And though she'd wanted to build a new one beside Andrei, she couldn't ignore what she'd been sacrificing. The door opened quietly and Andrei stepped in, hesitation in every inch of his posture. He froze at the edge of the suitcase. There was a long, pregnant silence. "Packing," he said softly. Elizabeth nodded, unable to meet his eyes. She took a seat on the edge of the couch, hands twisting in her lap. Andrei walked closer, unbuttoning his coat in a curious, halting way, like he was unlearning how to be close. "Talk to me," he said, voice low. She looked up. Her voice wavered. "I'm sorry," she began, and swallowed the lump in her throat. I tried so hard to make this our dream. But I'm so exhausted, Andrei. I miss my parents, my friends, the life I had. I feel like I'm failing at this." His expression softened, and for a moment she saw the man she married, gentle, protective, believing in what might be. He knelt beside her. "Look at me," he said, voice steady. She raised her head. "Stay," he whispered. "Not because you have to prove it, but because I can try harder. I can show you why it's worth it." Her eyes misted, but the suitcase remained, closed, unyielding. She wanted to believe him, but years of small frustrations of feeling unmoored had built a wall too high. Love wasn't just words, it was 1,000 days of showing up, of learning, of apology and grace. Andrei stood, and his hand hovered over the suitcase. "Let me help," he said. She couldn't respond. She rose and gently moved behind the suitcase. With trembling hands, she opened it again. She pulled out the blouse she set aside, and then the scarf. Slowly, she lifted the bags to her shoulders. He stepped away. The suitcase remained untouched on the floor. "Please," she whispered. Across the room, Andrei clenched his jaw, his eyes glistening. Not anger, regret, fear, heartbreak. Elizabeth didn't look back as she walked toward the door. She took a deep breath as the hallway light bathed her briefly before she stepped out into the night. The taxi ride to the airport was silent. Rain had begun in earnest, soft, insistent drumming on the car roof seemed to echo her hurried heartbeat. She watched streetlights blur in the dark window, each one a sad apology for all that wasn't being said. At the airport, she stood under the bright fluorescent lights, clutching her passport and plane ticket as if they were lifeboats. She heard a faint beeping of departure screens, announcements, passengers weaving through with determined steps. Her phone buzzed again. Loren had sent her a voice note. "You are loved. You did what you needed. I've got you." She pressed it to her ear, closing her eyes. The warmth of her friend's voice helped a tremor settle in her chest. An announcement crackled overhead, the final boarding call to Washington, D.C. With one last look at the runway visible through the glass, Elizabeth exhaled. The edges of her vision softened. She walked forward, past the concourse, past her doubts, forward into familiar skies.